Don't be scared. I'm the super sweet monster with the super sweet new cereal, Count Chocula.
Biffle, here's the super sweet new cereal, Frankenberry.
But I've got chocolate sweeties for monstrous chocolate flavor.
Well, I got berry-flavored sweeties for monster strawberry flavor.
Count Chocula.
Frankenberry.
Hi.
Frankenberry.
Count Chocula.
Hey guys, welcome back to Descent into Horror Hell, episode 39, our coronavirus episode, in sorts.
If you guys are still alive out there.
Isn't exactly 6 feet, but yeah, whatever.
Crazy fucking world, man, but we hope we bring you some entertainment.
Absolutely. We got plenty packed in this one. This episode, we're going to do some recent watches for you, and we're also going to get into horror franchises. We're going to get into 4 or 5 of the best ones that obviously we all know. We're well acquainted with them. But we will throw them at you. We also have Planets Collide, I think, is going to come back in this one, talk some metal with you.
Oh yeah, that'll be fun.
So without further ado, guys, let's get this episode started. Cheers.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 6, 6.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Be back with recent watches, and of course, with this time, we have many time for recent watches.
Yeah. How do you
Pretty much
pick?
all you watch is movies and read books, and can't really do much because nothing's open. So let's do this. I have the Canal. This is from 2014, 2015. I'm not going to say this. I'm probably going to butcher this director's name. Ivan Kalviaga. Yeah, whatever. It's an Irish horror film. Very, very well done. This is definitely a very good representation of what modern horror can be when it's done right. There's actually some genuinely creepy moments in this movie. Very well executed, very well acted too. Really believable characters that you care about. Pretty good gore too in parts. Definitely a good representation of what psychological with supernatural elements / murder mystery, what you can do, with a little imagination and some really good help, man. The Canal is a great film. I would put it up there around with Found, Pieces of Talent, Inside, movies like that I truly think are some of the best modern horror movies. I'd put The Canal right up there, man. Check out The Canal. Excellent film.
Never seen it. I'll have to check that out.
Yeah, it's fucking well worth it.
Alright, the one I'm going to be doing is J.R. Bookwalter's 1994 classic Ozone. This is from Tempe DVD, which puts out a lot of lower budget horror. This one's a fun one. This is basically the story of this cop and his partner who are trying to track down this drug dealer for a long time, and they finally catch him, but the one cop is injected with this street drug that's coming out, this trendy street drug called Ozone. And basically it starts making him kind of like hallucinate all these really dark lucid dreams and kind of contemplating his own mortality in a sense. He starts seeing himself die and decay. Starts seeing the world in a whole different view. Lots of cool effects in this. Obviously there is CG in this, but it's not overdone. I mean, it's in places where it's mixed, so you don't necessarily see all just computer, you don't see all practical, but a lot of practical cool stuff in here. He ends up meeting the main boss in this movie, who's some fat looking guy from, looks like some fat, I don't know, thing from Ghoulies or something. It's kind of funny actually, and it talks to him in this little demonic voice. And it tells him 94. So I mean, he also did a movie called Skinned Alive from 1990, and The Dead Next Door from '89. So if you like those movies, this will be right up your alley. Same director, but it's low budget, but it's actually shot really well. Acting's really done. It's not cheesy, anything like that. So definitely check out Ozone if you guys haven't heard it. It's really good urban horror.
And check out The Canal if you like supernatural, psychological horror at its best.
Cheers, guys. We'll
Shall
be back
return.
for franchises. Bring it on.
Oh, you poor boy. You look awful. Come here. Come to Mother. What's your name?
Kyle.
I'm Julia.
Hello, boys and ghouls. Welcome back. We are again Descent into Horror Hell. I am. I was gonna say I'm Skidcore.
He means ghoul, I'm Skid Gore.
Alright, we'll start that
Oh,
over.
fucking leave it, that was funny. See, I'm like other horror shows, most people would cut that out, but we don't give a fuck because we keep it real. So, our fuck-ups are your entertainment, so thank you.
Well, in any case, I'm Ghoul. And it's a Skidcore.
I believe I'm Skid Gore. Yeah, last time I
He
checked.
is, therefore, he thinks, therefore he is. Yeah, we're getting back into franchises. This was actually kind of, we were going to do this on the last episode. It kind of ran short of time.
Yeah,
Oh, there's Lugosi.
yeah, making
his
a
entrance.
cameo.
So we didn't get around to doing franchises. This is kind of one of those things where we wanted to do it a right way, not feel rushed and things like that. So our basic criteria for this, and we're not going through every franchise, mind you.
God, no.
If we did everything that had 3 or more movies in its series, we'd be here all night. So we picked the obvious ones. I know we're pretty much cliche like every other show, but you know what? Once in a while we gotta hone to the masses, I guess, and talk about them. So we picked four favorites, and then an honorable mention. Me and Skid Gore each don't know each other's honorable mention. Those I believe will be different.
5 favorites and 1 honorable mention.
Oh yeah, 5 favorites. Whoops. And here we go again. Boy, this is sloppy, yeah. So without further ado, let's get into horror franchises.
Let the body count begin. What you got?
All right, we're gonna just kind of generally discuss these movies as a series and as I guess a cultural thing. I mean, these movies really made an impact on horror that we watch in the underground or whatnot. So our first one is the classic 1978 John Carpenter's Halloween. Yeah, we got a whining dog over here. I mean, Halloween, man. What can you say that hasn't been said about just
Oh man, yeah, it definitely leaves a
the
impact
boogeyman?
on you the
Yeah.
first time you see it, especially when you're younger. It makes you question about strangers and babysitting and
normal everyday things. I mean, even the trick or
don't
treating
fuck
aspect.
your girlfriend, or you'll end up on Michael Myers' end of his knife.
So I mean, this when this movie came out, obviously it's a very slow burner film in a sense. I mean, in the beginning, there's a lot of dialogue, a lot of following, Laurie around and things like that, and their friends. But I think it's the build-up that really pays off in the original movie. I think that's what everybody loved about it. I mean, the atmosphere of it, and the Halloween feel.
There's no denying John Carpenter's score is about 80% of the success of that film.
Yeah.
It's a very well done film, very well acted, very well executed. It took a lot from Bob Clark's Black Christmas, as far as the point of view shots from the killer. It definitely revolutionized it. John Carpenter, Deborah Hill definitely revolutionized that style of filmmaking for horror films, modern horror films. would become after that. But I think from the music to the setting with Haddonfield, Illinois, could be like any town, you know, could be your town.
It's just a small town feel.
Yeah,
and
so
that's-
yeah, definitely.
yeah.
And
No big city. It's
yeah,
just
it makes you feel
there.
like this might be your neighborhood. Michael Myers,
Which-
I almost said Mike Myers. Michael Myers.
Well, it kind of is.
Michael Myers might be coming to your town, you know.
Which is funny.
slaughter
This
your
the
ass.
original was shot in New Jersey, or no, California, but based off a city in New Jersey, I believe. I remember because the documentary. There's a Halloween documentary I watched.
I got that too. I haven't seen it in a while.
So it talks. It was actually shot in California, which is kind of funny because obviously the houses and stuff. But
I think Deborah Hill came from a place called Haddonfield, so she.
it was in New Jersey. Yep,
after
it's
that.
right outside in
Yeah.
by New York there.
Deborah Hill, I don't think gets enough credit for
Oh, absolutely
Halloween.
not.
I think
No.
she's just as important. And of course, you know, her and John were married at a point,
Yep.
so they were very well connected, making films together. They also made The Fog. But
Clear.
Halloween, man, is definitely a first run knockout.
So I mean, so we move on. Like, where? I mean, you love all the movies. I mean, Halloween 2, 3.
Not all the movies cool.
No, not all of them. We don't. I mean, we always know there's kind of that flop.
There's
But
always
this
that
series-
flop called Halloween Resurrection, with
The one you stole.
That's right.
Yeah. You know, the series itself, though. I mean, you know, 2 was great because it really took right off of the first one, and it did it so well. The third one obviously had nothing to do with Michael Myers, and that pissed everyone off. But it was something different. It was something that.
It's very well done.
Yeah, the fourth one in the was great. Fifth was fifth I liked. It had that home invasion type
The whole
feel.
fourth and fifth one is the introduction to Danielle Harris, and of
Yeah.
course she's a huge modern horror actress icon.
That was her
now.
start, so that was nice to see. But I mean, we had Rob Zombie's Halloween's now that recently came out in the past 10 years. The franchise it's kind of one of those that just really, literally, like Michael Myers never dies.
It's a cash cow.
It is. It's got the name, but you know what? Aside from the the urban Halloweens, in a sense, with Busta Rhymes and LL Cool J, and you know, that was a time in horror I think that really screwed up a lot of movie series.
First and the second film.
but are definitely classics.
Classics.
But Halloween just stands the test of time. I think it always will. The music that the
The guy walking around in a
Can't
William
beat it.
Shatner mask has never been scarier. So,
Yeah, no kidding.
thank you,
So-
William Shatner.
So definitely, I think Halloween. You know, we talk about franchises. I mean, it's without a doubt, I think one of the most recognizable. Songs, and like we said, John Carpenter is just a master at music and scores. So it really made the movies, I think, throughout the 80s and 70s, 80s, and 90s, and today. So, all right, what are we talking about next?
Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I like the first film the best.
Who doesn't? When you know the backstory of that movie, holy
Second
Christ.
film's pretty good. Third's alright. Fourth is Abomination. And
Yeah.
I
Then it
guess
goes
the
from there.
remakes are somewhat okay.
Some of the remakes, Next Generation was pretty decent with Michael McConaughey. I think that was his name. Matthew McConaughey. Sorry, Renee Zellweger. I mean that.
The first film's where it's at though. Gunnar
Oh
Hansen
yeah,
is
absolutely.
just a beast. Amazing fucking film. Serious. What do you got?
Don't have much to say on that, huh?
No, you did it already.
I didn't say much. All right, now we're moving on to Nightmare on Elm Street series. This series is probably one of the most consistent, in a sense, I guess, series up until the remake, which we are not talking about that, by the way.
Never happened.
But this kind of, because I think it was a fate. Michael Myers had the mask, and Leatherface had a mask, and you never really got any identity out of that. But Freddy Krueger and Robert Englund had the personality. It was very personable when you watch this. It's almost like he's speaking to you as a viewer. That's at least how I thought of it as a kid. That he was always just talking to you, and I like that personality aspect of these movies. First one, without a doubt, it really set a precedence on that new age slasher. It really felt like something that could have been made in the 90s. I mean, the way it was done with the teenagers and things like that, it's just, the kills that are creative. Johnny Depp's death, obviously, with the room being upside down and all that. It was just really
Classic.
It was groundbreaking stuff, and gore. And really just the series all around is terrifying, I think, no matter what. With the boiler room and, everything like that. Even though it's the same concept, but, yeah.
Freddy's an icon. Hellraiser. One of my favorites, Hellbound and Hellraiser 2. This is one where they get Chenard and they go to hell, and that part where the guy, get him off me, with the scissors, cutting himself up.
Yeah.
Ashley Lawrence is great in it. Doug Bradley reprises his role as
The only Pinhead.
Yep.
At least it should have been, anyways. I always liked the first one. I mean, the first one's just a classic.
First one
was Frank, and I mean that whole backstory with him and him trying to get all the bodies and stuff like that, And I always thought that creature was really cool when it was forming under the floorboards, and it's all like, it reminded me of like The Thing. It was kind of cool like that, where it's just this forming, melty shitstorm. So yeah, it fell apart after the second one, in my opinion. Hellworld had really just got really stupid and weird. After that, like Revelations, I never cared for it really much after that. I don't think many people ever did. So now we can get into our honorable mentions here. So honorable mentions I picked was the Full Moon Pictures Subspecies trilogy, 1, 2, and 3. So it's Subspecies, Bloodstone, and Bloodlust. This series was always really cool to watch. Radu, the vampire, honestly creepy as shit. Great makeup in that, and he's got this real raspy smoker's voice.
Yep.
And he got his mother, who's just annoying as shit. But it's kind of cool when you watch these movies in succession, because it's your typical kind of like vampire film. He's destroyed, but is he really? So it's kind of got that mythological Michael Myers type feel, or Jason type feel. He's not really dead. He's brought back somehow. Yes, can we help you? Get out of here. So, I mean, Subspecies, and for a full moon picture, which we all know full moon as being most for cheesy ass movies. I thought Subspecies was actually really well done. A lot of great locations, the old castles in England and things like that. So I always thought that
Romania and Budapest.
Yeah, so they had a lot of really cool locations in these movies, which was really awesome to see. Really kind of cool, some cool gore too, and so yeah, definitely check out the Subspecies movies, Bloodstone, Bloodlust. You won't be disappointed if you like vampire movies that are relatively modern. These are from 90-something. 90s.
Those are some of my favorites.
Alright, what do you got?
Phantasm. I like the first film, I don't like any others. I like second one a little bit. Second one's okay, but I'm more of a fan of the first one. I think Angus Scrimm, rest in peace, is one of the great icons of modern horrors for sure. Right up there with Freddy and Jason and Michael Myers and whatever. But yeah, that ball, that gets you, it's just iconic, everyone knows it. Director Don Coscarelli, whatever the hell his name is, he wrote a really innovative film. Part science fiction, part horror, definitely mixed it perfectly. Yeah, if you don't know Phantasm, there's a problem. It's a great film.
I know Ravage or whatever was Angus's last Phantasm movie, and I didn't get a chance to check it out yet, but yeah, I mean, this is one of those franchises I think that really goes under the radar. You know, everybody knows the first one, but it's like you could almost think that's the only movie because nobody talks about any other ones, and there might be a reason for that. Who knows? But all right, guys, we're gonna take a break here. We're gonna go to a kill scene. And we're going to come back and we're going to go through our favorites of each of these that we've talked about. And, well, I don't know. We'll kind of mention some of the other ones, obviously, you should check out. So,
Stick around.
Back. Cheers.
Filet de Bobby. Open wide.
Nothing but the best for Greta.
Are we? Second helping.
Don't talk with your mouth full, dear.
You are what you eat. Poor baby. There.
Welcome back to Descent into Horror. This is our final favorite franchise, film franchise in horror. This is definitely my favorite. This is the Friday the 13th. I'm a Jason guy. I just think he's the coolest, iconic slasher. Makes the coolest kills.
Creative, yeah.
I think Harry Manfredini has made some of the scariest music ever fucking made, honestly. And I think it really shows when you watch the film. It really enhances the viewing experience.
Quiet.
My favorite is Friday the 13th, the final chapter.
Great cover.
Yeah, it's a classic cover.
The old VHS. That's what you used to see on
VHS
that
are
shelf.
so much better than any of their fucking reissues or whatever.
Yeah.
I used to always say Part 3 was my favorite, and, you know, that was the first one I ever saw. And Richard Broker is still my favorite Jason of all time. But, I don't know. The final chapter, I just think was so well done. It was also directed by Joseph Zito, who did another slasher favorite of mine called The Prowler. Tom Savini actually did the effects on that as well. But I just think it's very well made. I think the atmosphere is great. Ted White playing Jason, I think, did a great job. He played Jason a little bit more energetic and jumping around, killing people, running. You know, usually Jason's kind of like a slug, just walking around with a machete
That's what I'm running.
or a fucking pitchfork. But yeah, like this one, he's like very menacing. And then when Corey Feldman takes his mask, rips his mask off at the end with the machete and hits him in the eye with that machete, and he slides down the blade. It's just such an iconic scene in horror. And of course, the final chapter, my ass, you know.
False advertising.
Exactly, but final chapter's my favorite. Jason's the man. What you got?
Well, speaking of Friday the 13th, my favorite, Part 3. You know, Richard Broker, obviously.
Him and Ted are both gone now.
Yeah. No, I always like this one. I like this scene. I like, you know, all the kills that took place in the barn and stuff like that, because it always reminded me of growing up and, you know, walking in, you know, old barns and stuff. And I think the coolest, the ending scene is like the one where it kind of reminded me of Halloween when Michael Myers gets shot and he falls out the window. You think he's dead and that's it. And then he disappears. So it's kind of like this when Michael Myers gets, Jason gets hung from the rope off the top of the barn, and he's just hanging there dead, and all of a sudden he comes back. You know, the score, again, is what really sets that off in this movie. And then, of course, we all know iconically through the fourth one on the cover with the big slash in his mask happened in number 3 with the axe. So we, you know, it's kind of a cool segue as far as the third to the fourth. But no, you know, it's these movies are stereotypically just always, I know, they're stereotypically just modern slashers. A lot of people don't really care for this series. It's iconic and stuff, but they really are just kind of hack and slash movies. But I love them. You know, Skid Gore loves them, so who cares, right?
Those are our favorites.
All right.
For sure.
So this next one, I think both agree as the favorite. We talked about it before, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the first one. The second one's good. I actually was kind of a toss-up with me. I do like the second one, with Dennis Hopper and things like, you know, that was
I
a
think
good
we did
movie.
a show. I think it was a show in the back where we did our favorite sequels, and TCM2
That was
definitely
definitely,
on
yep,
there.
that was on there. So I mean, it was a close second for me, but you know, nothing beats 1974. The way, I guess it makes it almost better if you understand how this movie was shot and what they went through to create this movie.
All the rotten meat, and
Yeah, it really
it
made.
was very unpleasant for the cast.
So I guess it adds something to it. I mean, Marilyn Burns. Oh man, what a hell of a scream queen.
Yeah. Definitely a final girl for sure.
Yeah, it really makes you cringe and just feel dirty. You know, watching the meat hooks and, you know, everything else. It makes it believable.
Did you know that after she got done shooting that last scene where she's running away from Leatherface, and he's about to get her in the truck, something happened where they had to reshoot that again. So she had to recover herself and all that blood and all that sweaty gear again. And she was not a happy camper about that. But she did it because she was a trooper for Toby Hooper.
Yeah. So I mean, this movie definitely always hits home as far as how creepy it is. So I think we both agree that's our favorite.
Yeah, it was fun. Those are our favorite franchises. I'm not personally. I mean, I like franchises, but you know, I don't know. I still like them, but I think they're just kind of a cash cow now. I think the greatest ones are already made, you know. So when a new Halloween comes out or a new Jason comes out, I really don't get that excited about it. Or the new Chucky or something. I don't know. I really don't get that excited about it, but if people do, that's great. It keeps the horror flame going. So
Yeah, like you said, I mean, that's a perfect word for it, is cash cow, because I think these movies have such an iconic, they have so much tied to them, as far as the fear, but I just don't think you could recreate that fear. You know, when things were made in the 70s and 80s, you know, it's kind of like when people always say they look at old photos, or they look at, you know, it's creepy when you look at old stuff. I think it's the same thing in film. You know, you look at how everything was back then, and you know, you put yourself in that place. It's not like today where movies, you know, everybody busts out a cell phone and, you know, is calling their mom. Like, come on, you know, back then you had
got
the
some
rotary.
hipster soundtrack fucking playing.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many things that
CGI kills.
and that's why I appreciate films that
Tom
have
Savini,
a
man,
good
all the way.
throwback, you know, that they throw back to the 80s and 70s, because, you know, and they do it well, and that's what's great, because they go through the same soundtracks, they go through the clothing, and just how things were, and
There are some good modern day slashers.
Don't get us
being
wrong,
made.
you know.
I would say there's one called Lost After Dark or something, I think it's called. That was a good one. Slips my mind at the moment. Inside, you know, that's more home invasion, but that's...
The Strangers.
Yeah. Man, yeah. Header's a good one.
Robert Lee, or whatever his name is.
Yeah, so there are some good ones still being
Yeah, you
made.
just got to dig around and find them. Now, as far as like other franchises, like I
Crossbear.
said, we were talking other franchises. Children of the Corn, you know, that's a classic Stephen King adaptation. You know, Linda Hamilton being in the first one. It was kind of one of those franchises that, like, it seems like most of them, they just kind of keep putting them out because of the name, and the films don't get any better.
Child's Play.
Child's Play, same idea, except for that. What the hell is that remake? Oh my god.
I don't know. The
I
last
wanna talk
Child's
about
Play
it.
movie I ever saw was Bride of Chucky, and I thought it was funny, but I stopped watching.
Seed of
it.
Chucky's actually pretty
Actually,
decent.
no, I shouldn't say that. I saw Curse of Chucky. That one, that was okay. It was kind of returned to form, but nothing
Yeah.
beats the first and the second film.
No.
can even throw
I mean,
the
you
third
got
one on
other
there, I guess.
ones like Paranormal Activity. I mean, this is obviously turned into a franchise. because of the big paranormal boom with The Conjuring and Annabelle and things like that. You know, Saw, Hostel's got 3, so technically for a franchise you call it 3 or more. Jaws, that's a classic, except for the 3rd and the 4th one. Amityville's another one that really always, it's the title, it's the name, even though the story changes. Exorcist.
Puppet Master.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many franchises
Candyman,
out there.
can't forget Candyman.
Candyman, absolutely. I mean, there's so many of them that, you know, you obviously, like I said, we'd be here all day talking about. But there's just there's an allure about franchises, I think, that is exciting for people to get involved with them, because everybody has a different taste in franchises. That's what opens it up. And when these directors change hands, it's usually not the same director throughout all the films. That hardly ever happens. And I think it gives somebody a different insight to somebody else's view on a character, or whatever happens. But yeah, so I mean, that's our little ditty on franchises. Yeah, so
Hope you enjoyed it.
I guess from here on we go to the metalheads across the street, and I guess they got something to tell you about some fucking heavy metal, so let's go to them, guys. Take it away. Hey fellow metalheads, what's going on? I am Ghoul.
Skidgore, what's going on?
So we're going to do Planets Collide here. We're going to throw an album at you and explain a little bit about it. You know, we all talk about that metal and horror are one and the same.
And they collide.
So without further ado, the band I'm taking today is Dom Dracul, Attack of the Crucified. Not necessarily just this album. This band is actually really, really good. They're from Gothenburg, Sweden. Relatively new. Came out in 1998. Put out a couple demos. This was their first release. Definitely awesome black metal. If you like Bathory or Yggdrasil from Norway, if I said that right. Yeah, if you like bands like that, you're definitely gonna dig this band. They're newer. But it's one guy, and he does absolutely everything. And we all love one-man black metal bands, because apparently they're really that good. And this is no exception. It's got a lot of groove to it, but at the same time, like I said, it's like Bathory. It's got the traditional black metal 1-2 D beats, and then these awesome-ass breakdowns. Really catchy riffs. This is one album I would definitely recommend from 2005. You can get a re-release. This got re-released in 2017 off Sun and Moon Records. You can get it pretty cheap actually yet. So if you guys dig that, check them out on YouTube, Bandcamp, wherever. But check out Dom Dracul, Attack of the Crucified.
That looks pretty killer actually.
So, Skidgore, what do you got?
Check it out so you can see it. So you can see it's fucking glare.
Fuck glares.
I can never get it out, man. Void Meditation Cult.
Nice name.
Yeah, these guys are badass, man. I've been listening to extreme metal for a while, but this is definitely one of the most evil sounding bands I've ever heard. They definitely kind of put you in a trance, meditation, if you will, hence the name. You listen to this shit with black candles burning in the dark, or any candles for that matter. Definitely get like a H.P. Lovecraft feel, definitely a satanic feel with their music. The best way to describe Void Meditation Cult, I would say, if you're a fan of Beherit from Finland and you're a fan of Holocausto's vocals, mix Holocausto's vocals from Beherit's Drawing Down the Moon mixed with something like Demon Sea Joined in Darkness record. That really heavy end guitar, really heavy, fucking doomy, sludgy, black metal times, death metal times. There's so much shit going on in this band's music, which really attracts me to it because you pretty much get all the flavors with this one, you know. But yeah, I would say Void Meditation Cult. Definitely check them out. I don't know anything about them. They're so shrouded in mystery
Perfect.
that no one even fucking knows a thing about them. I think they're from Chicago, but I'm not entirely certain on that. But they dedicated to Turgenda of
From Black Witchery.
Black Witchery.
There you go. Alright, so I got Dom Dracul this time, Attack of the Crucified.
And I have Void Meditation Cult on Hell's Headbanger.
So definitely check it out, guys. Hopefully you guys check these bands out. Support the local underground. Support fucking underground metal in general.
Shit, yeah.
Sending it back to you, Ghoul and Skidgore, Descent into Horror Hell. Hey guys, welcome back. Wrapping up this episode 39 on horror franchises. And
We had a good time.
yeah, I mean, what's around the corner? Big 4-0. Oh boy.
40, holy shit.
We're at 40. Hopefully you guys stuck around and
And we're all still alive, so we can do 40, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, take care of you guys. Take care of yourselves. Make sure you watch our shows and keep yourself.
Wash your hands.
Yeah, you take a shower after watching
Be
our shows.
smart. Don't be stupid. Be smart. You'll be alright.
So, with that being said, I am Ghoul.
I'm Skidgore. We'll see you guys next time for the big 4-0. Next time on Descent into Horror Hell. Take care of yourselves.
Cheers, guys.